I know, right? I can't get my liquid light open. And we're live. Hello, hello. Ooh, I forgot to shake that up. That's not good. Yes, welcome in, welcome in. There you go. Can you read? Yes, you can. That is straight, right? The other way is... That's right? Can you read that? Yes, thank you. I had it fixed and you said the other way. Now you can read it, right? Okay. Sorry about that mix up. I was trying to get my mirror, my screen mirror just right. Welcome in, welcome in. How you doing, Amber? I see you come in. All right, I've got my canvas up here. Just a clear, plain white canvas. It's all dry. Speaking of which, I need to put my gloves on. I'm getting paint all over my hands already. So, how's everybody doing today? Hey, Breezy. I thought we'd do a really cool scene today. I'm going to do a little bit of an ocean scene. Well, this is kind of the inspiration today. This is an actual picture from Bermuda. And it's not one that we took, and that's just kind of the idea that I'm going for. So I'm going to attempt to do something similar. It's not going to be quite like that, but it's going to be close. So yeah, I hope everything works out all right. Now I've got to get a thin coat of liquid white on here, and this is just the Bob Ross. I don't know why I was showing it to my canvas. This is just Bob Ross liquid white, and it's just a really, really thin white paint. It's just like the white that I use all my paintings, but it's been thinned down, like with paint thinner or linseed oil or something. I'm not even sure what. But since this is the wet on wet painting technique, the canvas has to be wet in order for the paints just to slide around and to interact with each other and just work the way we want them to. So if I had a black canvas, I'd use the Bob Ross Liquid Clear. But since this is the white one, we're going to do liquid white. And it'll help keep any paints that I put on here nice and vibrant, and it'll soften them out a little bit when they go on, because it'll mix with the white. And don't necessarily have to do the edge. Would like to know what I'm painting? Hi, Veronica. Yes, I'm going to do a seascape. We've been to Bermuda a few times, and this is going to be reminiscent of a Bermuda seascape. So when I get down to the sand on the beach, I'm going to add a little bit of pink to it. So, and I'm not going to do the large rolling, crashing waves. It's going to be a nice, easy, calm day. We'll have some waves coming in. I think that's about right. So, I know this is really exciting watching me paint white. but where, like I was explaining, this is the wet on wet technique, so we need to get the canvas wet to start with. And then I clean my brush. All right, and to clean my brush, I've just got a little bucket. Down here in the bottom is just a screen of any type. I found this. There's a Bob Ross screen, but I rub the brush on it, gets the pigment out, and it's got odorless paint thinner in it. And then after I've rubbed it on that, I try to get as much as I can out, and then I've got a trash can, and down in the bottom is a plate drying rack or something that I bent to fit into this, and I just go back and forth, beat the bristles on the bars, and that gets all the paint thinner out, or most of it, and then just tap it on some paper towels to make sure I got it all out. So, but since this had a little bit of a sunrise going on, I'm going to have the horizon about halfway up the painting, maybe a little bit lower. So right in here, I think I'm going to do a little bit of a sunrise, and I'm going to start with just and to let you know what I've got here for colors. I've got titanium white, midnight black, Prussian blue, phthalo blue, alizarin crimson, Van Dyke brown, a little bit of burnt sienna, sap green, phthalo green, and then down here I've got some cadmium yellow, Indian yellow, yellow ochre, and bright red. I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to get into all of them, but I'm going to start by taking just a little bit of that cadmium yellow, and right up in here where I think the sun's going to be, I'm going to add a little bit of that. And that cadmium yellow is quite a bright yellow on the palette here. I see how bright yellow that is. And when I put it on here, it starts interacting with that liquid white almost immediately, and it just dulls it down to this nice glowy yellow. And then I'm going to tap into a little bit of this Indian yellow, and I'm going to just around that a little bit, just oranging that up, maybe even just a touch of the yellow ochre, which is a little bit, ooh, that's a lot. A little bit more orange, but we can get that out a little bit. So just like that. And I'm just throwing up some color right now, and I'm going to blend it all out. So I'm going to touch a little bit of this alizarin crimson, just kind of get a little bit in there, just like that, just a little bit, just a hint. Get a little bit of pink in the sky. I think that'll look good. And then I'm going to go into a little bit of the phthalo blue. And the phthalo blue is a real light, bright blue. And since I had some yellow on my brush, that turned into green awfully quick. So let me clean my brush out. I thought most of that yellow was out of there. But hopefully everybody can hear I got trying out a new microphone. Hopefully everybody can hear that just fine. Hear me good? So let's put, oh, that's better. We're just going to add some blue in there. Get rid of that green. All right. Good. Thank you, Vanessa. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Now, I'm going to blend all those colors out. So I need a clean brush to do that with. Clean, dry brush. So I'm going to clean all that blue and everything off in there. Oh, Vanessa gave me donuts? Nice. Thank you, Vanessa. I needed a snack. 4 donuts even. Wow. Thank you very much. And if anybody else is here, if you want it, if it's not necessarily, but if you hit the little heart up here, and if you're able to, you send me the daily heart, you join my fan club. And I would really appreciate that. And that way you could be notified whenever I go live. And it helps me out a lot. And all right, get that. And then we're going to do a little bit of that. Just kind of working that out. And I should have started in the yellows first, so I just got thinking about it. I'm too used to going to the corners and starting to work down. But when you do these sunrise paintings, you got to start in the brightest area and work your way out. So, and now I'm just blending the colors together, trying to get the brush marks out of it. Just and making it as pretty as I want. You know, you can blend it out as little or as much as you want. And we'll get out into a little bit of this. Like I said, when you get into these yellows and orange, you got to be careful coming down into your blues because it'll turn green. It can turn green awfully fast. Oh. All right, and we're going to add some clouds in here. So that will work just fine. I think I'm going to add a little bit more blue. I want a little bit darker blue up in this corner. And you can even go into a little bit of I've got some Prussian blue here, which is a darker blue, much darker. You can see the difference right there. It's a darker, colder blue. Well, we can put that up in the corners. When you're doing these paintings, if you have the corners darker, it tends to bring your eyes into the middle of the painting. So, just like that. Oops. Let me get a little bit of that excess paint off in there. And then blend that out a little bit better. And I'm just using a crisscrossing strokes. Just like that. All right. I got some brush strokes up in there. I need to disappear a little bit more. All right. I like that. So I'm going to clean that brush once again. All right. And I'm going to take my fan brush. I got this. We'll use the little fan brush today. I've got 2 different size fan brushes that I'm using. And I'm just going to use the little one. So make sure the bristles are nice and flexible. I'm going to load that up with some titanium white. And then just going to decide, I'm going to go a little bit darker. 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 I'm going to go where I'm going to put some clouds. And I think over here, you just got to kind of decide where you're going to start, and then you just kind of smoosh it up here. I'm going to try it this way. I saw somebody do it this way, and I thought that might be better, because you just kind of come in here, flop that around, smoosh it around, and just throw up. See, and then after I've gotten up in here, I get all that white becomes blue, and then when I put it down in here, you can see I've got a little blue mixed in there, which is not what we want, but it's not that big a deal. So, my canvas is what? Blurry? Wow. Now, if it gets a little more of the wall in there, why isn't it focusing on my canvas? That's weird. There we go. Is that that looks like it's focused. All right, I'm going to use the 1-inch brush. You can use a 2-inch brush or whatever, and I'm just going to use these just a few bristles at the very top. I'm going to come in at like a 45-degree angle, and I'm going to just kind of wind that up a little bit. Just kind of blend them out. At the top, you use very, very little pressure. And as you get down to the bottoms, you use more pressure. You can blend out the bottoms. Then we just kind of lift them up a little bit. And then side to side, and it just kind of sets them down into the painting. And then I can go back to my fan brush again. And I cleaned it. I got some nice more white in there. And you can also just kind of tap some indications of clouds like this in also. And that, that's a totally different type of cloud. And then, with these, you can just easily wipe them side to side. And sometimes you can go up, very, very lightly. You can kind of give them some upward movement. And just like that. But now, right in front of that darker area, or the lighter area, sorry. I want a little bit darker cloud. And I'm going to come up here with a little bit of alizarin crimson and a little bit of the phthalo blue. More crimson than blue, but I'm just going to mix it on the brush. And that's one thing I like about this clear palette, is as I'm bringing it down, I can see light coming through the bottom of that paint, and I kind of tell what color it is. And right in front of this area, I'm going to just smoosh in some dark color, just like that. Say, oh my God, I've ruined my painting. And I'm going to clean that brush, because I'm going to come back after I've blended this out. Going to come in with just the tips of the brush again. And just kind of spin that out. And there, it's going to want to grow, but that's all right. We're going to keep it from growing too much. We're going to focus on the bottom. And just blend that out. Just like that. Add a little bit of upward movement if you want. And if you get too much paint on there, you can just beat it off. And I kind of like that. Now, I'm going to go in with some more white and right over this, especially, you got to decide, you know, our really bright area is more right in here. So we can kind of just add in some white on the base of this cloud. And I'm wiping off the purple that got onto my, and onto the brush. And on the underneath of these clouds, I'm just going to add some white. And clean that. Again, with a 1-inch brush. Very lightly. Clockwise, counterclockwise, just spinning it. You decide. And it adds some bright spots to those clouds. Alright. Now, if you really wanted to get crazy, we could add a little bit of this. We'll take a little bit of that white, come down here into that cadmium yellow. And right along the base of that, we could add some bright, pops of bright yellow. And that's not showing up very well, probably on camera, but, and I'm just going to go easily across that. So I want those bright spots to show up. Just like that. All right. Get these brushes cleaned up. I thought, make sure that white 1-inch brush is cleaned up. We're going to use that. All right. Now, I'm going to gotta decide where this ocean is going to be. And I think I'm gonna do phthalo blue and a little bit of Prussian blue kind of mixed together. And there was a little bit of that alizarin crimson that was mixed in there. That's all right too. But I want the phthalo blue is much brighter and the Prussian blue is much darker, but I want to do the hardest thing known in art, and that's to draw a straight line or paint a straight line. So we're just gonna see if we can put in this water. And I want that darker. I want that nice and dark, but I want it nice blue. So tell me, anybody watching, is that level? Is that straight? Tell me, please. Is that straight? I need some answers. Is that straight? Does that look straight? Is that level? Ness says looks good to me. All right. Anybody else? Earl said looks good to me. Awesome. We'll go with that then. And that's going to be our deep water out there. Clean that brush. Get all that deep blue out. And I'm going to go over here into this phthalo green. And I'm going to tap in some of that. And I'm going to add some of that green in there. And that's going to get up into that blue. Just going to kind of blend those together. And I want it to come down at an angle. Make like a triangle here. And bring that down a little bit. Try to thin out that line so it's not so noticeable between the two colors. Alright. That's kind of what I'm looking for. Alright, now I get to clean my brush once again. Okay. Well, Alright. Now I'm going to take a little bit of this burnt sienna brown, and I think I'm going to add a little bit of crimson to it, just a touch of crimson, and maybe a little bit of the Indian yellow. Oh yeah, that's a nice color. A little bit of the Indian yellow. Yeah, I'm kind of liking that color. And then down here, just gonna brush in. I need a little bit more crimson to that. I want it a little more pink. All right. And we're just going to fill in this bottom section with that pinkish color. Pinkish brown. Anybody's been to Bermuda, it has this pink hue to the sand. I think I might even add just a little bit of white, just to make that little gray, a little bit more tan. Yeah, kind of liking that. All right. And then we got our beach in here. All right. Clean that brush up and we can start. Well, we can almost start. I need to add a little bit of land. And I want to get that going before I really start getting into the waves. All right. So I'm going to take my fan brush. I grabbed the small one. And I'm going to go, actually, let's mix up some dark color. I'm going to take some black, this blue, some crimson, and a bunch of that brown. And I'm just trying to make, if you just do the black, the blue, and the crimson, you kind of make this purple color. And you add the brown, and it just leans more towards more towards a dark brown color. And not sure if that's quite the color I'm looking for, but if you take a little bit of white and just a little bit of that color, and off here, you come over here and I see it's all gray. So I'm going to take more brown and mix it in there. And then maybe even some more crimson. That black is a really strong color. It tends to overtake everything. I'll get all that color off my knife, scrape it all up, mix it all together. Take a little bit more. That's a little bit browner. Still pretty gray, but I can work with that. I can work with that. And my fan brush, I'm going to load it up on both sides. And over here, got to decide where it comes from, but we're going to kind of go up and then down. There's this peninsula, big piece of land right here. Comes down and then it goes up again. All right. And then it kind of rounds out and comes over here. And I'm just going to fill that in with some dark color. Just like that. And then I'm going to clean this brush, because I can't do anything with all that dark color in it. All right, clean that up. And I didn't put out enough of my brown color. So I'm going to squeeze out a bunch of that dark brown. And a little bit, I can't get my cap to go back on. There we go. And where is my burnt sienna? There we are. And just, you know, I'm using the Gamblin 1980 burnt sienna. And I've got the Winsor Newton Van Dyke Brown. And most of the time I use the Bob Ross colors, but this is the phthalo blue. But when I can't get hold of them, I go to the local store and they have the Winsor Newton colors, and I can use those. And there's a whole lot of oil that wasn't mixed up very well. So let me get that out of there. All right. Now I'm going to take some of that, both this Van Dyke Brown and this burnt sienna. I'm going to mix that up down here, and I'm going to even add in a little bit of white to it. And I'm just going to mix it a couple of times. I want that marble color. I don't want it overly mixed. I want that marble color. And then I'm going to scrape off a little roll of that paint, even though I didn't get a roll. There we go. I got a little roll of that paint on that knife. And up here, these are kind of like cliffs. So with a little bit of grass, vegetation on the top. So I'm just going to touch this, and I'm going to, in places, just going to drag it along, pick up a little bit more. And the way you drag it is going to show the directions of the rocks. So mine, they're pretty much straight up and down, but to have a little bit of angle to them. So I'm just easing the angles and adding some texture to those rocks. I'm going to add a little bit more white and come back, and in places just kind of add a little bit more highlights to that. There we go. Okay. And then down here at the bottom, I'm just going to pull that straight down just a little bit. Just a little bit. I don't. It's going to give it some shadow, and I don't want much. So wipe off the excess and very easily go side to side, and that just blurs it out. All right. Now up on the tops, I'm just going to take my fan brush. I'm going to go into some sap green and a couple of these yellows down here. More green. You can even add a little black to these yellows, and that makes a really nice green color, dark green. And just going to tap in. Oh, that needs to be a little bit brighter. And I need a... If you have a hard time getting your highlight colors to stick, you can go down and get some of that liquid white, and you can mix that into your highlight colors that you're trying to make, and it thins it right out, and it makes it a little bit brighter. So, oh yeah. And these hills are so far away, there's not a lot of definition. I'm just adding a little bit of color, just some green color. And then I'm going to wipe that off a little bit. Clean that paint off. And then if you come along and you just lift it up, and that disturbs some of the stuff that I didn't want disturbed. So I'm coming in, getting a little bit more, and just adding that. But it gives them a little bit of spikes sticking up for the like treetops. So just like that. Welcome back, Veronica. What do you think so far? All right. It's definitely getting there. All right, so I'm going to go up here. I'm going to flatten down my titanium white, and I'm going to get a roll of paint. And back here, I'm just going to start sawing in just the indication of some far off waves. You don't want to get right up to the top, but you just add in, just going to add in some waves out there. And I just rub my eye. I probably just got paint in my eye. Get that, I've got some brown mixed in there. Don't like that. Well, thank you. So I'm going to mix in just a touch of the liquid white, just a touch of it. And I'm going to come back here and just going to step down a little bit. Ah, yes, absolutely. We've taken a couple trips to Bermuda, 5 trips to Bermuda, and it's a magical place. It really is. So, all right, just gonna mix up a little bit more, and I'm just gonna, once I deposit that down, I'm gonna take my fan brush, clean, dry fan brush, and just easily, I'm going sideways, but up just a touch. Just taking a little bit of that, little bit of the tops of the white, and just brushing it back. So just, I think I need a little more white in there. So we're going to add a little bit more in here. And you can even go back with a knife, or the palette tool, and add that. And then once you get that where you're liking it, come back over here, and we're going to add just another row of waves. It's getting a little thick there. And just oh yes. Well, painting can give you a nice little getaway. Just kind of make you feel like you're there. All right. And again, I'm going to take a little bit of that white and just brush it back. I'm not quite level, but it's close. Just, well, thank you for the roses, Veronica. I appreciate that. And I need a little bit more of the white back here. I really appreciate anything anybody contributes. Now, you can do whatever you want. You can add as much detail as you want. The biggest thing is you don't want these two lines touching. You want that little bit of separation there. Ooh, a DJ vinyl. Wow, thank you very much. I really appreciate that. All right. I think I need one more. Oh, that's way thicker than I want it. So I'm just going to come up and grab some of it. Wow. Vanessa's sending all kinds of stuff, huh? I can't watch it or I'm going to wind up taking these waves right up to the clouds. Huh. Vanessa sent oldies, freestyle, pops. Wow. Vanessa's on a roll out there. Just kind of fill in some of that. You don't want to fill it all in, but you want to give it some detail back here. A little bit. Yeah, we're close enough that I can take some of that liquid white, mix it in with a titanium white, and just Add some splashes in there. And the closer you get to you over here, the bigger the splashes can be. Over here, you want them fairly small. Whoops. I got too much paint on my brush. Clean off a little bit. And I want to take a little bit of that. Just work that back a little bit. Just work it. All right. I'm going to need more liquid white. I want to add a little bit. Oh, whoa, that is way too much. Way too much liquid white, not enough titanium white. All right. That's all right. That's all right. Drift it down there a little bit. So, because I do want a bunch of liquid white, titanium white, mixed in about a 50-50 mixture. About as thin as it was over there where I didn't want it to be. And then up in here, right along here, I'm just going to add some of that in there. I don't want to touch those ripples, but I need to add some paint. And I want this a lot, very liquid white, because when I do the next step, I want it to fade away and mix easily with the undercoat. All right, clean that knife off. Excuse me, palette tool. They get upset when I use that K word. So I'm going to use a 2-inch brush for this, just because it's going to cover more ground. I'm just going to take it like this, and I'm going to touch it, and I'm going to drag it down. Just going to drag it straight down. And one of the people that I like to watch, he likes to ask everybody, what does that look like? Does that look like wet sandy beach? And he said, what does it look like? Anybody got any comments on what that looks like? Looks like a mess, right? It does? Well, Vanessa says it does 100%. Well, what if I started going side to side and took all those vertical streaks out and made them horizontal streaks? Does that look more like wet sandy beach? Yeah. Yes, a pretty sandy beach with a pretty sunset. That's kind of what we're going for. And I never put enough white on my palette. Doesn't matter what I'm painting. I never put enough white. But they're going to take some more liquid white with some of that titanium white. just so it's nice and thin and runny. Paint, grab another roll of paint. And out here, we're just going to kind of throw in another little line of this is the where the wave has come the time before, and it is just receded. So, you know, and then it has some, you know, just a little bit of stuff up in here. Just like that. Oops, my fan brush is in my paint thinner. I can't grab it if it's sitting in the paint thinner bucket. I'll clean that up. I'm going to take a little bit of that. Just get a little closer to that. Drag it away, drag it forward, drag it back. Yeah, just making that. I don't want to get rid of that. I want to keep a little bit of that dark color in there. But and you can go back and you can add a little bit of extra. You can add extra, you can take away. But you just, the ocean's always moving. Oh, you need a little bit of that white stuff behind the splashes. You know? That's the goal. To be able to look at a painting and think that you could be there. Isn't that the way? That's my goal for this one, is to, you know, take me back. Add a little bit more spray there. Now, down here in this beachy area, you walk along the beach, and there's always some seashells and some rocks and pebbles and sand. So what we can do is take a little bit of white, a liquid white, up on the edge of your palette, and you take your fan brush. I actually like the larger fan brush for this, because you can go like this, and it bends those bristles back, and you can just fling some of that white. And the closer you get, the thinner the spray. But you put it up here on your beach area, and it looks like seashells. And you don't want to overdo it. But you can also take a little bit of paint thinner, and you can go up into your browns. And I'm going to make a real thin brown color here. And I'm mixing that up on one of my other fan brushes. And I'm going to mix that up, and I'm going to put it on my palette tool. 30,000 likes. Oh my. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. I really do appreciate that. I'm going to put it on my palette tool. And I'm going to do the same thing down here. Just lightly. Just lightly. Just some brown specks here and there. Just like that. And if you wanted to, you could even come up into your dark blackish area. And you could put that black on the tool and just add a little bit of black in there. I don't want to add too much because that takes away from my nice pink sand, but it gives it some dimension. Makes it look a little more real. All right, clean these brushes up. And what do you think? What do you think? What's everybody think about that one? That one look about done. Oh, thank you, Vanessa. I got a little bit up there. Just add. You can add as little detail as you want. You can add more. It's the details that tend to make these interesting. You say that about everyone, Vanessa. You say this is your favorite every time. But I think that looks pretty good. But Vanessa, you've been there. Does that look pretty close?
I know, but I mean
it. You mean it. Well, I didn't paint for many years, and then I started picking my brushes back up, and I was quite rusty. And the more I do, the better I get. The more rust gets knocked off, the more I get back into it. So, it's just a matter of practice. Just a matter of practice. So, and the more you do, the better you can be. It's all practice. Now, my first paintings weren't all that great, but every I got a new follower. Awesome. Thank you. Was that Penelope? Thank you very much. I appreciate that. You know what? Now that I'm looking at it, I almost think this needs another cloud up here. I thought that lane was going to be a little bit bigger than it was. So let's just kind of throw something in here. Something like that. Something like that. Oh, I got some paint on my brush here. How the heck did that happen? Way up there. So let me get that paint off in this brush. And then we'll just kind of fluff that sucker out. That's how I did it. I got it on that paper towel. Again, just using the corner. Come along the bottom. More pressure along the bottom. Less pressure on the top. You don't want all that detail to disappear. Fluff it up a little bit. Squeaky door. And then just side to side sets it down into the painting. Just like that. Yeah. I like that. I like that a little better. No, I can't leave it well enough alone. I see an opportunity for a little bit more. One more addition to that cloud above. Just that one wasn't as bright and white as I wanted it to be. So you can go in and add some extra white. And of course I got to clean out that brush since I put it in the paint thinner bucket. And just easily fluff that out. And where that was on one that was already there, the white will stand out a little bit more. Oh, there. I think we can leave that well enough alone. And I think it's not quite. I wanted to mute the pink down from the sand, and I wanted a little bit different view of the beach, but I think that's pretty close to the picture. The sunrise is different. It's hard to get it exact, but I think I did pretty good. I think I got pretty close to my inspiration photo there. And with that, I think I'm going to call that one good. And I'm going to sign it. If I can find my liner brush in this pile of brushes here. And if anybody was interested, it is available. No. I've got paintings available if you know where to look. I can't say. Nope. just like that. I'm going to throw my signature down, or my initials down here. And we're going to call that one good. So, all right. Now, I'm done. Whoops. After I've been online for a while, I have to do this puzzle piece into the pocket. And of course, I'm wearing gloves, and they've got paint all over them, so it tends to get messy. I have to take my gloves off. But what's everybody think? I think that turned out rather nice. I'm pretty happy with that. But I'm here to answer anybody's questions, if anybody has some. Yeah. Even though I had gloves on, I got paint on my hands. It's crazy how a little bit of paint will just travel. It'll get everywhere. If you don't immediately clean it up, it tends to go in a lot of different places. So, but I'm pretty happy with that one. I hope you are too. And I want to thank everybody who's joined me and supported me. I do repost these videos on the tube if anybody wanted to go back and watch it later. So, but I am pretty happy with that. Your fave for sure. That's awesome. Oops, that's not what I wanted. There we go. 1 hour and 7 minutes. I try to keep these right at about an hour. So I think we made it. So, all right. Well, if nobody else has any questions, I'm gonna sign off and get cleaned up here. So, thank you all for joining me and supporting me, and I hope to see you next time. Have a great day. Bye-bye.